Are you looking for some concrete, actionable steps that you can begin to take to escape an abusive relationship? Hey guys, welcome back and thanks for joining me for another video. If you're new here, my name is Beanie with Breakthroughs with Beanie, and I'm a certified trauma-informed coach that specializes in domestic and narcissistic abuse. And if you are a subscriber, welcome back. So today I want to talk about actionable steps. This is for the woman that you're just realizing that, hey, something is up, or you might be the woman that knows something has been up and this is not the right relationship for you and you just have not known how to escape. You don't know how to break your trauma bond and you are feeling stuck. I want you to be able to have some actionable steps, a step-by-step kind of checklist, if you will, that's going to tell you exactly how to distance yourself. This checklist is going to help you to take your power back and ultimately break free. I know because I spent an entire decade with an extremely abusive man, and these are all the things that I did that led up to me making the decision to finally escape. Number one, I began to document everything. Likely you're being gaslit daily, you're being lied to, you're being manipulated, you're not knowing which way is up. And so I began to document everything. I documented phone conversations that I thought were a little iffy, like, oh, is he cheating? This seemed weird. I documented in my journal, I would document incidences or things that he told me that I thought, oh, did I remember that wrong? I began to document with my camera. I began to document with audio recordings. All of these things helped me to realize that I wasn't crazy. I was being gaslit. I was being manipulated. These things were happening and he could no longer blame it on my memory. So often your abuser will minimize an event or make you believe that it didn't happen that way or it wasn't that big of a deal. And so by documenting incidences and, doing recordings and audio recordings, you can look back on those things and you can decipher, okay, was that a big deal? Was it not a big deal? So recording and documenting things did a couple of things for me. In the moment, it validated how I was feeling. It validated what I believed to be true at the time. And then after the fact, after I left, it helped me to expose him because ultimately exposing my abuser was the only thing that I could do to make him finally stop harassing me. So having a laundry list of things that were housed in my phone was a really big way for me to take my power back. Number two was I started therapy. And I was able to get free therapy through the city because I had had so many police reports against him. And therapy was really the catalyst in making me realize the reality of my situation. I looked forward to it every single week, and it really helped to validate my experience. It helped me to put words to the things that were happening to me. I was in therapy for almost 3 years before ultimately I was able to cut myself loose of this man. But confiding in that one person that I knew that I could tell everything to and there would be no judgment, it helped me so much. I can't stress enough how important it is that you are able to find some kind of support. For me, at the time, it was a therapist. Number three, I began to educate myself. I began to read and listen to anything and everything I could get my hands on. I didn't know what a narcissist was. I didn't know about the cycle of abuse. I don't even know that I could have said that I was a victim of abuse. And so the more I read, the more eye-opening my situation became. And the more information I had, I just, they say knowledge is power. And for me, it absolutely was. Read. Get yourself educated about the cycle of abuse, about narcissism, about abuse in general, tactics that they use. All of these things are going to help you, and they're going to help you to put a name to everything. And not only is it going to educate you, but it's also going to help you feel like you're not alone. There are words and definitions for everything that's happening to you. This is not the first time it's happened. You are not alone. There are a lot of people out there that this is happening to as well. So educate yourself. Number 4, and this is while I was still living with him, I began to gray rock. And if you don't know what gray rocking is, it just means that you're giving a very unemotional response to anything that is being thrown at you. Any kind of gaslighting, any kind of manipulating, any kind of verbal abuse, I would just nod and give him as minimal of a response as I possibly could, showing zero emotion. Harder than it sounds. Things get heated and you want to respond, react, reach out. And so to gray rock, it definitely was a time where it made him go, whoa, what is she doing? This is different. Why is she not fighting back? And so gray rock, unemotional response to as much as you possibly can. Number 5, this is where shit got real. This is where I realized that my entire relationship was a farce. None of it was real. What I felt was not reciprocated on his end, and it was a real slap in the face. Radical acceptance. It's a difficult thing to accept. Your reality of this was all a farce. None of it was real. And so for me, that took longer than I would like to admit. Multiple years for me to truly accept that he was the kind of human being that he was. And so this is when I began to have an exit plan. This is a time where you start socking money away, you start planning, scheming. How are you going to cut yourself free? Letting people know that need to know what your plan is. And so yes, exit plan. This plan should be well thought out. It should not be an emotional plan, like walk out the door after a fight. This is something that you have been planning for however long. Everybody's circumstances are different. Number 6, stick to the plan. This is easier said than done. I can tell you that I had multiple plans. I had multiple times that I was supposed to leave, or that I did leave and I came right back. There was a lot of grace, having to give myself grace about not being able to execute those plans. It was tumultuous. It was traumatic. It was really, really difficult. But that plan was created. Ultimately, the plan that worked for me was a plan that I created. It was not something that my mother said I should do or that my sister said I should do, or it was something that I created on my own. So having said that, just know that you might have a plan and it might not work, but that's okay. You can always come back and you can create a new plan, because I continued to make plan after plan after plan until the last plan finally worked. Please know that I failed more times than I can count with regards to sticking with the plan and carrying it out. And so I also realized that that was just my process. That was what I needed to do to make sure that the last time I did it was it. Give yourself grace. You're gonna need it. Number 7, sticking to the plan. Okay, this is where I touched on this a little bit in number 6, but up until my plan actually worked, I had done what everybody else was telling me to do. You should do this, you should go here, you should blah, 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 blah. The time that worked for me was when I created a plan all on my own. It was all my idea. I told no one of my plan, and it helped me to have ownership of it. And that was a really important factor for me. Number 8, execute the plan. Easier said than done, I know. I waffled back and forth multiple times within all the way up until honestly 3 days before I was ready to escape. I waffled on whether or not I was going to do it, but ultimately do it. And no need to announce your plan to the abuser. They do not need to know that you're exiting. They need to know nothing. Likely, this is an extremely dangerous part of leaving an abusive relationship, is when you leave. And so likely you're going to spark some emotion on their part about you exiting. So you don't need to let them know. Once the plan is executed and you have now fled, or whatever your situation is. For me, I actually had to flee. Number 9 is no contact. That means no communication on any kind of app, no communication through friends, no communication through social media stories, or this is what I'm doing, and knowing that he's looking at the stories. No communication. And that means blocking on everything. And my ex, he would make new accounts. He tried to contact me on Venmo. He tried to contact me on Google Photos. He could, any possible way that he could try to contact me, he attempted. Emails, I blocked emails, I blocked phone numbers, he had burner phones. And if you have children, then it has to be minimal contact. And you go back to that gray rocking. This one tactic will grant you so much power. You will find that there will be a shift in the power balance, and that when you don't respond, react, reach out, when you don't do those things like he's used to you doing, you will see that you are beginning to gain power. And that's what you want. You want to regain all of the power that he has stripped from you. Having said how important it is to go no contact, I also want you to know that if you mess up and you do respond, that's okay. Give yourself grace and then go back to no contact again. Okay, last one, number 10. This is what you've been waiting for. Now you have a whole new level of healing. Hold on tight, because this is a whole nother big chunk of very purposeful work that you're going to have to do to get yourself back, to reclaim who you used to be. This is no joke. It's fucking hard, but it can also be incredibly beautiful. You can learn so much about yourself. So that's it, my 10-step process, 10-step checklist of all the things that you can do to help to gain your power back before you've left an abusive relationship, leading up to actually leaving. Thank you again for joining me. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and press that alert button so that you get notified when I have a new video coming out. Go get them, you guys. I'm rooting for you.